Commissioners, would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority. And may we use our directives for the common good, and for thy honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Tyler.
Here.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Very good. This brings us to our first public comment portion. Dave Radacci, I believe you have something for us, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm David Radacci, the Planning Community Development Director. My staff and I are both members of American Planning Association, our national chapter, and American Planning Association Ohio chapter, it's our state chapter. The APA Ohio has awards that they hand out every other year called Great Places in Ohio. So APA asks us to submit places that are uniqueness in place, they have character or personality, have a special history, use special, and are used very special, and then they have a planning initiative behind them. So this year, my staff had submitted 2 places in Lake County, downtown Willoughby and Mentor Marsh. So the downtown Willoughby has had, over the years, they've had planning initiatives to create the uniqueness of the downtown area, and everything continues to follow the old principles of planning, and it's really developed into a wonderful place, and it was recognized as a commercial district. It was a great place in Ohio. And then we also, the public space or place is Mentor Marsh, where we submitted that because it is the first state recognized natural preserve in the state of Ohio, and it's been a very special part of Lake County for many years, and it's been a dominant feature in the community, so we thought it'd be another good one to submit. Both of those were judged by our state chapter, and we were one of 3 awards given out in the area for these special awards. After, I'm not sure how many were submitted, but quite a few probably were submitted. So we were very happy to receive these awards, and we thought we would share our happiness with the commissioners and let them know how Lake County is being recognized for their planning initiatives in wonderful and great places in Ohio.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate bringing it to us, and both places are certainly deserving of the award.
Mr. President,
Sir.
I would add that I had the benefit of attending the ribbon cutting for the Mentor Marshes Boardwalk, which is only going to enhance our ability to enjoy that natural site. Second phase to that project is going to be a bird watching tower. So as beautiful as the Mentor Marsh is, Mentor is still working very hard, partnering with the state and the county to make it even more accessible to residents. So that's going to be exciting in the coming years. And downtown Willoughby always gets better. I know that most of us, I think all of us, were there for the ribbon cutting of the Willoughby sign. And so it's just amazing to see how Mayor Fiala continues to build on the legacy of Mayor Anderson and making downtown Willoughby really one of the main sites of the east side of Cleveland and northeast Ohio.
Mayor Anderson was the part of the driving force behind why Willoughby is the way it is today. He hired a planner named David Hart to do the initial downtown plan, and he developed a special zoning code to make sure that it continues to be that special place that we all know and love.
most certainly.
Well, I'm gonna throw a more personal note out there. The efforts of you, your team, you guys are humble servants. You don't seek recognition, you don't seek accolades, and when these awards came through, just the level of humility, there's a tremendous observation, a tremendous level of pride and a job well done. But I got to give you guys my credit. It's your job, and that's the level of quality that you want to bring to this county. And we are blessed to have you working with us. Gentlemen, I don't know if you want to add to that, because these guys are like top notch. Thoughts?
Well, absolutely agreed, 100%. Dave, we appreciate everything you do for the county and for the residents of Lake County. Thank you, and your team.
Without a doubt. One of the best parts of being county commissioner is being a part of the planning commission because we see the work that's done to build up the entire county.
Thank you, sir. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's just we're going to these signs. The APA Ohio created these signs, and we will be presenting one of the signs to Willoughby Council on the 1st, November 1st, and then we're trying to work with the Mentor Marsh Nature Preserve and the Cleveland Museum of Natural History to present the other sign. We're probably going to put the second sign for Mentor Marsh in their nature center.
Excellent.
Please extend our thanks and gratitude to your entire team.
I will.
Thank you.
Well, just to recognize Alana Sensabello. She was the one who I assigned to write the applications for these two sites, and she did a wonderful job of creating the application and helped us get these awards. So I'm very proud of her work that she had done on this.
Excellent. Thank you, and thank you, ma'am. All right. David, as always, thank you, sir. All right, moving on. Let's see, do we have anyone wishing to address the board at this time in the first public comment portion? Seeing none, moving on. Madam Clerk, first agenda item, please.
In the engineer's office, resolution authorizing change order number 1 for the Chapel Road and Vrooman Road resurfacing project with Roniak Paving Incorporated, decreasing the amount by $72,042.31, LCE project number 2022-006.
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion, I'm going to look to the engineer, say thank you, sir.
Yeah, we appreciate any money that comes back, but we're wrapping up the end of the year programs, our paving program for this year, and so I don't know whether this is the last one you'll see, but pretty close to it.
Very good. Thank you, sir. All right, if there's nothing further, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Utilities Department, resolution approving final estimate number 3, release of retainage in the amount of $26,782.28 with Neroni and Sons Incorporated, and accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $49,574.30 for the Hazel Avenue Sanitary Sewer Rehabilitation Project 402S for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations in Lake County Department of Utilities Solid Waste Operating Fund transfers out and transferring cash to the Solid Waste Closure Post-Closure Fund.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Randy, did you want to give a little background on that?
Sure, thank you, Commissioners. As waste goes out to the solid waste facility and goes over the scale, we collect a fee for that per ton. At someday, there will be no more waste going in when the landfill closes, and there still has to be money available to maintain that landfill for another 30 years after it's closed. So this is a fund that every year we put a certain amount of money in to make sure that when the landfill is closed, we're still able to maintain it, even though there will be no income coming in. So that's what this appropriation is for.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Okay, nothing further. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations in Lake County Department of Utilities Sewer Operating Fund.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's office, Resolution reappointing Michael Murphy to the Northeast Ohio Community Alternative Program Facility Governing Board for a 3-year term expiring November 9th, 2025.
I move to approve with a thank you to Michael Murphy for his service.
I'll second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $1,673,299.85.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $450,911.27.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing appropriations for various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. All right, moving on to departmental reports. Utilities.
No report today, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President?
Sir.
If I may, in the last week or so, I've gotten quite a few resident concerns and complaints about the landfill, and I preface this by first acknowledging the very hard work of your staff. We're incredibly grateful for how they manage the landfill, and we know that it's one of the most difficult jobs in the county. So I don't want you to take this as a criticism, but we also always, and I know you embody this more than anyone else, take the stance that the customer is always right, and we're always, doubling over to find a way to do better and to make sure that we are being responsive to concerns. But what I've heard, and I think something must have changed recently because it's unusual for me to hear complaints about the landfill, is that the wait times have gone up considerably, and there seems to be a policy change. At least some people perceive a policy change in terms of what we do if someone's truck or vehicle gets stuck at the landfill. Apparently, it used to be kind of an informal, whoever is there helps the other person pull out. But apparently recently, we've been a little more insistent in having a paid tow come out, which is more expensive, and maybe that is the impression of a handful of people, but nonetheless it's an impression. So the two concerns that I've heard in the last week or so are that wait times have gone up a lot, and that instead of people helping each other to pull out if they get stuck in the landfill, they've been forced to pay for a tow, which we all know is very expensive. So I was wondering if you've heard these concerns too, and I wanted to make sure they were brought to your attention.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, excuse me. I have heard some of the concerns. I think Gary reported about a month ago when he sat in for me that our tonnages at the landfill we broke records for the last 4 months in a row, so we have a significantly more traffic at the landfill. Tim Gurley, our director out there, is gathering some data for me on exactly how many trucks that or vehicles we have coming in and what the wait times actually are. I know that there were some additional vehicles being stuck I think due to the rain that we had over the last couple of weeks, so that it makes sense. I'm not aware of any policy change about bringing actually a tow truck in to tow people out, but I'll look into that and find out.
I really do appreciate it. And once again, I want to thank everyone at the landfill for their hard work. My goal is just to make sure you're aware of the concerns, and it's completely understandable if we have a massive increase in volume that we would have longer wait times. But if that is sustained, if we find out that this is the new normal, that we really are going to have more traffic for the foreseeable future, we may need to look into how we can expedite things.
Absolutely.
And with one entrance and one way station coming in, I mean, we're kind of restricted if everybody shows up at the same time. It's kind of a leading question, but
We are.
yeah,
Yes.
Thanks, Randy.
Sure.
Please, sir. Mr. Engineer. Jim?
Yeah, I'm at the landfill every day in probably one of its busy times, checking on the sheriff's facility. There is right around between 10 and 11 when I'm mostly there, it is backed up pretty good, but they move relatively quickly. And I get out of that driveway and on my way fairly quickly. They're very courteous in letting me out. But, you know, I've been off and on down there for several months working on this facility, and I don't see that it's a really long wait for these trucks. They're moving through pretty quickly. I think the landfill guy up in his little perch there is moving along as quickly as they can, because there's a lot of big ones and there's a lot of little guys that are in the middle of this too. So I appreciate, I'm sure Randy appreciates the information on this, but from my standpoint, I don't see a whole big deal about it. And if there is an increase in vehicles, which Randy is checking on, I'm sure it does take time to get in there and weigh these guys and move them on, but they're moving through about as quickly as they can. No, I guess that would be my comment on the thing, or my observation.
Very good, and I'm gonna, if I may, Randy, chime in here. I'm gonna look to legal on this. Legal under the heading of no good deed goes unpunished. If the county offers a courtesy tow, pulling a multi-ton truck out of the mud, and we rip the front end off of that truck, do we have some legal exposure there?
Well, it's
I already know the answer to the question, but hearing you say it's
engaging in speculation, which I don't like to do. But yes, there's always the potential for exposure. Depends on the situation.
Sure. And to that point, I look to Randy. Situationally, if there's a vehicle that manages to hopelessly get itself buried in the mud up to its axles or above, I'm pretty sure we're not going to send a dozer back there to jerk the front end off that truck trying to get it unstuck. That's where you would want to have somebody who has liability insurance and specialized training in extricating vehicles like that. Is that a reasonable statement?
I know we do everything we can to help out our customers.
And that's the key. It's within reason, which is what I think legal emphasized. So it's when you get into these extraordinary situations, and again, rain events, mud, vehicles getting buried because you may or may not have experienced drivers. We'll just throw that into the mix because our haulers are also having problems getting experienced crews out there. So I just wanted to make sure that was part of the conversation because I don't want it to look like it's all our fault. So, all right, and with that, yes, I'm very protective of our crew. Okay, thank you.
Different topic, we still on for tonight for the Kirtland public hearing?
Yeah, yes, the Kirtland public hearing tonight, 7 o'clock at Kirtland High School Gymnasium.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you again. Okay, Job and Family Services.
No report today, Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. County Administrator Jason Boyd. Spring in your step here.
Just very briefly, nothing significant to report, just an update. I have quarterly meetings with all of your department heads. I finished those about a week ago from Randy and Suzanne. And actually, Dave, I don't know if I did Dave. I don't remember. I think I had to cancel on Dave. Or did we do it? We did. Anyways, the lay of the land as far as those departments under your jurisdiction, everybody is doing well. Budgets look very solid. Obviously, various departments continue to work through the staffing issue that we see across the country. Obviously, Suzanne and Randy are probably right at the top of that list as the challenges that they see. But all in all, from our EMA to planning, our buildings and grounds director, telecommunications, the dog shelter, all in all, everybody's doing a really nice job, and I wanted to relay that to the commissioners and say thanks to all of our department heads. So thank you.
Hey, Jason, real quick, again, I appreciate you setting up meetings around the county. Had a pretty busy week. Start off with Lake County Visitors Bureau, Neil Stein and his staff. Talked about remarkable Lake County. Very nice sit down. Visited the GIS group, met Caroline and her staff, got a tutorial on the GIS website, which is fantastic. I have a new account set up, so I'm ready to rock and roll. Met with the Lake County Narcotics Agency, Patrick Hangstead and his staff, toured the facility to discuss war on drugs. And then lastly, met with Lake County Veterans Services, John Wormling and his team, discussed the many programs and services provided to the veterans of Lake County. All in all, great meetings every time, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Very good. All right, moving on. Madam Clerk.
Yes, I wanted to report that the next commissioners meeting is going to be next Thursday, November 3rd at 10 a.m.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. And legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. And that brings us now to our old business portion of the meeting. Do we have any old business to come before the board? Any old business? Moving on to new business. Do we have any new business? I'll jump in. Yesterday I had the privilege of going down to Columbus, State Fire Marshal's training facility for the Ohio Statewide Interoperability Executive Committee. Lake County was a topic of discussion down there. I would say under the Zone 2, which is part of the state's planning for communications. Our FEMA and NRC, the hostile action-based drill, the Prairie Nuclear Power Plant. Again, topic of discussion. And the theme talked about was not only did the team work well in the technology, but the technology that we've developed and have put in place is being used for our daily activities. And on the training side of things, not only do we train, we perform. And Ohio has a reputation of service. Other states do not, this is a little point of personal pride here, other states do not perform at the level Ohio does. When Ashtabula, Lake, and Geauga did this most recent drill in our coordination with the state of Ohio, everything hit all the points. And that is something to be proud of. The need for communications, both voice and data, are essential to a successful protection of our population. They did release the new statewide interoperability talk groups, and Lake County is going to be part of the literally the northern third of the state of Ohio. So that pretty much shows the confidence that the state has in our ability to support the technology, and it's pretty impressive. We can also give praise to our telecommunications director, Paul Stefanko. He not only serves on the Zone 2, but he is also working with the, Tactical Interoperability Homeland Security Regional. He is part of Region 2, the Northeast Ohio Lakeshore, and that gives us two voices. Paul Stefanko serving in that capacity, and myself serving as the representative for the County Commissioners Association of Ohio. We've got it covered, and it's we're very well received down there. The level of technical expertise and the years of service that Paul Stefanko and his team bring to the table is exceptional. There's a nice blend of young and old, which is something I always like to see. You know, you got to bring on that next generation of leadership, and they have done that. And you also have a tremendous degree of expertise being shared, and it's done in a what I would characterize as a very professional, non-territorial way. There's a lot of mentoring and a lot of collegial relationships that exist within that organization. So if there's nothing that you guys would like me to go into more detail on, if there's no other new business, I'll move us into our second public comment portion. Sir.
John Music, 45 Country Drive, Painesville Township. I just want to say one thing to the people in Lake County. I think that everybody should be going to their school board meetings as we read across the country about what's happening in our schools, and in regards to education. And also I saw, and in September, there were 3 arrests at my old high school. And the thing about it is, even if you do not want to speak, go there and find out what's going on. And I mean, I'm talking about across the country, but it also remember, I always say, Lake County is part of this country. And everybody should go to their school board meetings if you have children in, or have, or great-grandchildren, or grandchildren. Become involved. Because in my opinion, our schools are failing us for various reasons. So are they the whole problem? No. But are they part of the problem? In my opinion, yes. So therefore, I encourage everybody in Lake County to attend their school board meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Sir.
Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive, lobbyist for Citizens. I promise you, John Muzak and I did not get together to talk about schools, but I am here to just let the commissioners know that Lobbyists for Citizens has been doing some research. I basically asked myself the question, how did the proficiency scores of Lake County schools, how did they fare after COVID? Just a general question that I had. So I did find on the State of Ohio website, the report card website, if you dig into the website, you'll see a massive database of proficiency scores of, over 3,000, buildings within the state of Ohio. And you can, if you're proficient in Excel, you can sort that database where you can actually pull out Lake County, the school district, and the actual building. I did the research originally on Riverside, and I noticed an alarming low scores in the middle and high schools. And I said to myself, well, gee, I wonder if that's a teacher problem. But then when I did the same research for the mentor schools, I saw the same problems in middle and high school. So then what I did the research, through that same database, and I pulled out all of the middle schools and high schools in Lake County, and I made a copy, for you to look at, and it's really quite alarming where, you look at algebra and geometry scores in the high school, and some of these children, unfortunately, in geometry, they don't know the difference between a circle and a triangle. In algebra, quadratic equations may be a foreign language to them. I know that there's nothing that the commissioners can do, but I can tell you that there is a growing movement in Lake County of concerned parents, and Lobbyists for Citizens will provide support to that growing group. And we're going to increase our capabilities of having weekly podcasts, and the initial subject will be public education. So I'll continue to keep the commissioners in the loop of what we find, and there's not necessarily anything you can do, but just to let you know that what taxpayers are saying, we're spending this amount of money in the public schools, we expect performance. And when I look at the scores that are in, some of them now in the geometry and algebra are down in the 30% range of proficiency, that's not acceptable. As far as a taxpayer, I want to see much better improvement. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it's necessarily a teacher problem. I think it may be in the method of how they're actually teaching math these days. But we will, as we explore that, and if we can come up with some answers, we'll be glad to share that. If anybody's interested, I'll be glad to provide you with the details on Riverside and Mentor. I went through elementary, middle, and high school numbers, but I didn't provide it because I didn't want to overwhelm you with actual data, but it is available if the commissioners are interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I did a quick scan, and thank you for providing this to us. You raise an interesting point that I have some familiarity with for quite a while. I'm pretty good at math, I'm pretty good at geometry, and I've helped tutor more than a few kids. And the way that they're teaching math now, it's mind-boggling. I have no idea what in the blazes they're trying to do. You got to take the tens out. You can have the right answer and still be wrong.
Yeah, it begs the question: is it on purpose?
I will say, and I don't want to belabor this too much, but I will say I cannot find any other modern country that teaches mathematics the way that we're starting to teach it here in the United States.
Yes, and as a nation, it just so happens when I finished these, the reports, I did see the report where there is a group, I can't remember the name, where they actually look at the nationwide math scores. So this is not necessarily just a Lake County problem, it's a nationwide problem. And people in authority need to actually take a look at this and say, is this really what we want for the future? Because it's, as the baby boomers are dying off and, followed, it's the grandchildren that we are extremely concerned about. If they can't do math, that's going to be a problem for all of society.
Basic math, balancing a checkbook. I'm going to look to my colleague as a college professor. Business is one of the things I'm sure they teach. If you're going to be a successful attorney, you've got to be able to run the office. I'm sure in the college level, again, I think I already know the answer to this. I'm sure you have to be seeing where this is an impact.
Well, it's certainly true that students today need more remedial education at the college level than they used to. They're learning things they should have learned in high school or grade school in college, and that can be done, but it means that they lose the opportunity to take more advanced courses. Some students don't complete, so you see greater numbers of attrition in colleges today, and once again, that's not a Ohio problem, that's a national problem. We have the best colleges and universities in the world. There's no question about that. There's a reason why people from Mexico, China, India, you name it, the most prestigious degree someone can take is from an American university. Everyone is coming here, but no one is coming to visit at our grade schools and high schools. It's telling.
Interesting that you mentioned about remedial. I do remember some time ago when I was looking at Lakeland Community College, and I did hear that exact statement that the colleges found that the children coming from the Lake County schools needed more remedial work in order to get up to college level proficiency. So that is very telling, and I hope our educators will seriously look at that, and I hope taxpayers, as Mr. Music said, I hope they get involved in the schools, because it's extremely important for our county and for our nation. And I'm also asking, one last thing, I'm asking the school board members, how are you judging the performance of your schools? If you're not aware of the proficiency scores, and then some people will say, well, you can't just judge it just based on the proficiency scores. I said, well, okay, but give me some sort of measure. What are the taxpayers supposed to, how are we supposed to measure the performance of the schools? If the proficiency scores are not indicative, then I say, well, let's save the money and let's not do it, because there's a lot of money being spent in trying to come up with these numbers.
In fairness, I think any school board or teacher would tell you it's not so much the proficiency score, it's the change that really measures what a school's doing. There are definitely populations of students who've been tutored and have been given every advantage, and they're going to come in with college level proficiency, and then they leave with college level proficiency. That school may have added a titch or nothing to their ability. On the other hand, you might have a school where you only reach 20% proficiency, but they started with 0. So they've moved the needle considerably. So in fairness, it's not just about the final number, it's about how far they move the needle. And we can't expect a school to be the parent, the neighborhood, the mentor, and everything in between, and take a child who is in a terrible life situation and magically transform them into a well-adjusted, heavily tutored, studying maniac. So you have to bear that in mind, too.
I would certainly agree with that, Commissioner Plechnik, that I don't want the schools to step into the place of the parents at all. I see, especially in the mentor schools, with their pronoun policy, and I've sort of tagged it as, let's not tell mom, it's going to be our little secret pronoun policy. Very, very dangerous when the schools are getting in between the children and the parents. Not acceptable at all. I'll stop with that, but I will keep you posted, because it is a subject that is sort of near and dear to my heart, and thank you very much for the time.
That's fair, and I'm going to look to my colleague here. We're of that generation where doing math in your head and slide rule accuracy was a thing, and I can't tell you how many math teachers have retired that they say, well, we can't talk about that anymore. Doing math in your head, that's getting that degree of accuracy and knowing before you key something into a calculator, is the answer reasonable?
Right.
I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Well, my professional history, so some of my direct reports were telling me about their interaction with their teachers, this new math and how they were teaching their kids, and they were coming to me asking me how to teach their kids. I said, I'm old school. You know, I do this all in my head. You need a calculator, but this is how you think and how you process. And my direct reports are telling me, well, that's not how they're teaching the kids these days.
Commissioner Tyler, that is so telling. That is so
shocking to me
Yes.
that they don't teach it, I don't want to say a practical way, and I certainly don't want to say the right way, but the way it's traditionally always been done. So it's a different mindset, different philosophy, different approach. And I have been married for 42 years, and my wife was an educator for 31 of those. And she was one of those very committed teachers that the students just flocked to, you know.
Right, right.
But she taught it, very engaged with her students, supportive administration, staff, parents. You know, I don't know if that's true in all school systems these days. So, you know, times are different.
Yeah, Commissioner Tyler, I would agree, and I appreciate your wife and her diligence in teaching these kids. For the kids going to her, that says a lot. In fact, I'll just tell you, it's been a long time since I've been in high school, but I still remember Mr. Grossberg at Collinwood High School, 10th grade. That tells you something.
You remember those dedicated teachers for the rest of your life.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, anyone else wishing to address the board? Yes, ma'am. Come on up. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Becky Lynch, Lake County Recorder, 8040 King Memorial. I am here to report to you some good math.
That is always welcome.
I just want to let you know.
It's usually a positive number.
I know, like good math, whereby we saved, again, the county half, 50% on this quote. So my point is, on Sunday, 10/22/22, our land history books traveled to public space, and it was achieved on Sunday. So this 4-year project that I've been working on is finally complete. So I invite you guys to come down, gentlemen, to come down anytime, take a little tour of where the books have gone from the back archives creepy closet over across the hall to the former GIS tax map area. So it's all populated with these beautiful historic books. Now, the icing on the cake is the quote for that move, which was supposed to be 3 days, was a day and a half. It was $16,000, and it came in at $7,000 to just move the books. So we saved half of it by being prepared and having maps and graphs and charts of all the books. So these guys were a machine just moving these books all weekend. So I want to thank you for allowing us to move the books from one space to the other, and invite you down for a tour of the new Land History Center in the bunker of the administration building. So thank you very much.
So you not only use mathematics, you use geometry. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no one else, oh, yes, sir. Now, if you're going to start talking about sixth-degree polynomials,
Okay,
we're not talking
all right.
about that now.
John Music, 45 Country Run. Just to elaborate a little bit, you know, I'm assuming you know, I was told by this, just to give you a history, I called the Ohio State School Board, I called the NSBA, I called the U.S. Department of Education. Now they probably got me on the list now, so I called them and asked them questions. And the thing about it is, like the OSBA I went to, and hopefully you knew, in a 10-year period, the ratings were changed 4 times. 4 times in 10 years, so in my opinion, so they look better. I said, well, why don't we just lower the basket down to 4 feet so everybody can dunk? And this is what you got to do as your homework. You've got, and I don't want anybody in education, or anybody period in education or whatever, doing anything with my children or my grandchildren that the parents only should be doing. Never, ever. And the thing about it is, not only we fail, but we're failing our children, and we, in my opinion, and we've got to speak up and do something for our kids. There's nothing more important than their kids. It's the future of our country. It's their future. So I highly wish, like My mom going one tonight, 7 o'clock. And the thing is to go to your school board meetings, even if you don't say anything, just sit there. Thank you.
No, you raise a very good point, and back in the day, and I hope it's still taught to this day, parents would teach their kids, you don't play the game of secrets. That's how abusers take advantage of kids. And that is of concern of where's that line that's being crossed, you know, in violating a parent's rights to raise their child and to have a safe, nurturing environment. And I did make a little bit of a quip a moment ago, but you know what? There's an old saying that numbers don't lie, but liars use numbers. When people are being dumbed down and do not understand mathematics can be weaponized and politicized. So I just want to throw that into, you know, there's a lot of ripple effect in our society. Gentlemen, I don't know if you want to add to that or not. But.
Yeah, Mr. Music, you ever want to talk about polynomials, you just come see me, okay?
There you go. All right, if there's no one else wishing to address the board at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Happy Halloween and yes.
Commissioner Tyler.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. This meeting stands adjourned.